with righteous anger and well justified.
They're,
They won't do it again.
oh no, they're just going to have to sit and wait. I don't know why my husband said it was okay to turn everything off.
He probably forgot about the internet being
He
necessary
did.
for you to
He
have your
did.
class.
But Denise did it in such a way that she can still tell them all about Jesus.
No, I don't think I did.
Oh,
So when you go and repent, when God makes you go apologize to them for the way you acted.
No,
then
they really, no, it's just my husband that heard everything.
Take a breath and get a drink, sip of coffee. We'll wait.
I'm trying to get the share back on. There we go, I think, except, oh yeah, I lost this one too. Oh no, I've got to, let's see here. All right, what's the passcode? Anybody know the passcode?
Numbers.
Is it just numbers?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is.
All right. Right.
You're good.
Well, the thing is that it interrupted the recording too. All right.
Well,
we
we'll
go.
have part 1 and part 2.
Yes, we will, or 4 or 5, or you know. All right. So now, all right. Where were we? Okay, we got through that, right? Oh, we're at 23, aren't we?
Let's look verses.
We were on Ephesians, I think,
Next,
and then
nope.
error of Balaam.
Yeah.
Next, there we are.
Okay, so we have the third discourse, which is about Israel and Israel's about bad guys.
right.
Okay, so which
There we go.
verse does that start on? The third one?
Yes, we're on the third one. Yes.
Yeah, which verse does that start in?
Oh, I don't know.
Isn't that 24? Is that Numbers 24?
Number 3, chapter 24,
Verse 3.
verse
Okay,
3.
verse 3.
Wherever it says, you should have highlighted, he took up his discourse and said.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so we have this one, and this is and Balak was anger burned against Balaam, and he struck his hands together. And Balak said to Balaam, I called you to curse my enemies, but behold, you have persisted in blessing them 3 times.
Yeah.
Therefore, flee to your place now. I said I would honor you greatly. That means money. Okay. But behold, the Lord has held you back from honor. And Balaam said to Balak, did I not tell your messengers whom you had sent me, saying, though Balak were to give me his full house of silver and gold, I could not do anything contrary to the command of the Lord, either good or bad, of my own accord. What the Lord speaks, that I will speak. And now, behold, I am going to my people. Come, and I will advise you what this people will do to your people in the days to come. And then he starts another discourse, which is the 4th one. And that is about Israel, is it not?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, the other commentaries that I was talking about, they said 20, line 20, it's everywhere when he took up another discourse, that there's actually 3 there. Okay? 1, 2, 3. That'd be 4, 5, 6, right? I don't see 7 then, do you? Oh yeah, there it is on verse 23. I didn't have it marked.
Oh, and he took up his,
Yeah, there it is. I just didn't have it marked for some reason. And that makes the 7. Every time he says, then he took up his discourse and said, is a different discourse. And then Balaam bailed, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Now then we'll get over to, how do you say that one?
I'm more surprised that Balak didn't kill Balaam. Now, Balaam gets killed, but
He probably was scared too.
yep.
Yeah, probably. That's
I
what
used
that-
to sing "A Star Shall Come Out of Jacob." It's a Mendelssohn. It's beautiful, and just to read it in here was so moving for me.
Oh, really? So it's in a song?
Yes.
Yes,
How neat is
a
that?
star shall come out of Jacob. That's Christ. But yeah,
Yeah, what did you think about that? Here is a Gentile talking about this. About Jesus, right?
Yeah, that's
I thought that was interesting.
Well, it said the spirit of God came upon him back in the first part of 24. So maybe it was still on him.
He was, wasn't he?
yeah, that's true.
Okay,
I
how do
mean,
you say when
That's
he's
so much of our history that it has to be from God. Yeah.
so what? How do you say his name, y'all? Phineas?
Phineas.
Phineas?
Yeah.
Phineas. Okay. What do you think about this story? What did you learn in this story? What happened?
they in the tent of meeting they did sexual immorality with a Midianite, or anyway with it. So it was cultic.
Boston. Midnight.
Phineas was a son of Eleazar,
Eleazar.
right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it says to relate in verse 8 of 1 Corinthians, Paul warns not to act immorally as some of the Israelites did, and 23,000 fell in one day. By the way, the difference between the 24,000 and the 23,000 could be difference in days or different things. But, a lot of people say, well, this is a wrong thing in the Bible. One says 23 and another one says 24. It's not a big enough reason to discount the whole Bible, It continues to reference from verse of the 7 to the golden calf incidents in 32. This was mean that in addition to the 3,000 slain, 20,000 died by the plague that same day. I don't know. We'll watch the DVD.
It could be they're talking, one's talking just about men and the other one's including women.
Well, the numbers don't match up with that, but in researching the commentaries, I found his tent refers to the tent of the Lord. You know how this is always portrayed that they were in somebody's tent, getting it on or whatever? Everybody was watching them
That's
Oh.
horrible. Oh.
in the doorway to the tent of God's house.
Wow.
I hadn't caught that before. That makes a whole different, they were doing it in front of everybody in the tent of meeting.
So no wonder Phineas killed them.
Yeah.
It's like
Everybody-
the Oval Office, I mean,
Yeah.
Well, that's what Balaam told him to do.
Yeah.
What?
Isn't that how he said?
Well,
Or-
that goes on later. That goes
Yeah,
on later.
I
Yeah.
apologize.
It's okay. But it was a sexual embrace in the matter of Baal worship.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it says that they were weeping at the doorway of the tent of the meeting. Moses and the congregation of Israel were the ones weeping. How can this happen? And Phineas just picks up and I'll take care of this one. Right?
Right.
So we looked at some cross references in day 5 of your homework on pages 55 and 56, if those are the right numbers. What does the New Testament say about why Israel did this? As in, I think this is out of, Balaam was killed by Israel.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
This is where it gets into that stuff. That it was his doing that they started walking, doing the bad things.
Oh, Micah 6:5.
Yeah.
No, is it? I can't remember which one it is.
Or Micah's reminding the people how the king wanted the people cursed.
Yeah, and what Balaam, son of Beor, answered him.
Yeah.
So we know that. Hold on.
My people, remember now what Balak, king of Moab, counseled and what Balaam, son of Beor, answered him, so that you might know the righteous acts of the Lord. It was, Balaam says, okay, I cannot bless them, but this is how you can get
Right.
to them,
Stumbling
right?
block. Right.
Yeah, I can't remember where I read that.
It's in Revelations, I think.
Is it?
But I have a few things against you
think
because there are some who hold the teaching of Balaam, who kept teaching Balak to put a stumbling block before the sons of Israel, to eat things sacrificed to idols, and to commit acts of immorality.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
So, I mean, he couldn't curse them outright, so he got them to make them stumble.
right. So what did the Lord say to Phineas?
He would bless him.
Yeah.
And his for generations to come.
Did he make him a priest?
Well,
He was already a priest
yeah.
because he was Eleazar's son.
Son, yeah. Grandson.
Grandson.
Well,
Yeah.
Aaron's grandson, right?
Aaron's
Yeah.
grandson,
But I mean, his line was of Aaron's line, so he was.
It says a covenant of an everlasting priesthood. So
There you
it shall
go.
be to his descendants too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, what it meant was it went down through his line then.
Yeah. Because I mean, if he's Aaron already had the eternal priesthood until.
Well, I mean, but there was two sons, but what they were saying, okay, since you did this, you're going to have the inheritance for the perpetual priesthood.
I thought something that was interesting, we hear about these acts and these sins, but in 14 and 15, he actually names the man. And
yeah. I thought that was interesting, didn't you?
Yeah.
I did too,
Yeah.
Called them out.
The daughter of Zur, who had the head of the people of a father's household in Midian. Now listen to this. Where had Moses gotten his first wife from?
Midian.
And who was his father-in-law?
Laban.
Jethro.
No, that was Jacob.
Jethro, who
Jethro.
was a
Midianite.
priest.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
Think about that one.
Well, and so he was really of mixed, so it was really cool that God used him because he grew up Egyptian, even though he was a Jew, and married into the Midianite religious cult.
Yeah. So in verses 16 through 18, what were the Lord's instructions to Moses concerning Midian and why?
To be hostile to them.
Yeah, and he talks in 18 about the things that they had done. Now, it's called tricks, but, you were deceived in the affair of Peor, Cosby. These people had been against the Israelites and done things. And like you say, Moses married one of them.
Yeah.
Evidently, Jethro must have loved Moses because he gave him good advice about not trying to do everything himself. But,
yeah, he did.
That's a good thought, Catherine. You're right.
And the Catholic Church in Germany is trying to change some of the long-term laws about sexuality, and just makes us think.
Yeah.
It always amazes me when a religion changes its doctrines.
like our country is.
Uh-huh.
Exactly.
Well,
Doesn't
to
it
end,
change it to closer to the word usually?
Denise, were Moses' children from the Midianite wife?
the only two that were mentioned was, yeah. Hmm.
Hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
then I always wondered why Moses wasn't the head honcho in the temple and the priest and stuff. Maybe that's the reason went through Aaron instead of Moses, since he did, he was the main leader through all of those wilderness years.
Yeah, but Aaron was the oldest son.
Oh, that's right. Aaron was older. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, you think of Moses as being the older, but he is the youngest.
Hmm. Miriam was even older than him.
Yeah, because she was probably the sister that got.
She was the sister that
Well,
followed the basket. It names her. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
cool.
how does 1 Corinthians 10 relate to what you've studied in Numbers? Once, if you look at 1 Corinthians 10, he says, for I do not want you to be unaware, brethren, that our fathers were all under the cloud and all passed through the sea, and all were baptized into Moses in the cloud and in the sea, and all ate the same spiritual food, and all drank the same spiritual drink, for they were drinking from a spiritual rock which followed them, and the rock was Christ. Isn't that interesting?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, they laid low in the wilderness. Now these things happened as examples for us, so that we would not crave evil things as they craved. So he's just going
back to 5, I wondered when I read that they laid low. I didn't know what that meant. So I was reading in the NLT, and it says in verse 5, yet God was not pleased with most of them, and their bodies were scattered in the wilderness.
Yeah, they died. Lay low. Yeah, they died in the wilderness.
Right, because that whole generation had to die.
Yep, the whole generation.
Yeah, except for Jacob and Caleb.
Right.
Right.
But God provided for them along the way. But they still didn't believe in him, so he was not pleased with them. And they rebelled, so he killed that generation in the wilderness.
Mhm.
Now, verses 6 and 11 are a warning to people calling themselves believers. Example is the one who thinks he stands should take heed that he does not fall. If unrighteousness is a habit of one's life, that one is not saved. And I think that's something that we all have to think about. If you are habitually doing something that you know is a sin, I wonder if you're really saved. I would ask myself, am I really saved? These are warnings to the church.
Mhm.
Everything that happened to them, I mean, I don't see how people cannot see it relate to today.
Hmm.
I'm with you. A lot of Christians think the Old Testament has no purpose for us.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness, you see Christ all through it. You see, and I look at Israel and all their folly, and I see history just repeating itself over and over and over again.
Because
Well, my dad always says, has always told me, he goes, history just repeats itself. People do the same thing over and over again
Mhm.
and never learn.
When you
That's because Satan, why would he change his plan when it works?
Right. But when you discount the Old Testament, it's like Christ was a new idea in the New Testament. No,
Yeah.
Christ from the beginning.
Hmm.
Right from the get-go, right?
The word made flesh. So when we see when we use the Old Testament in light of the New Testament, we see this amazing plan that God had from the beginning of creation.
Yeah.
Yes. And to that point, when we started, Denise, studying the Old Testament, I pulled out my Tanakh and I'm reading it along with the NASB, and I'm caught just about 3 times a week when it asks for a New Testament reference. I'll try and find it in my Tanakh, and it's not there.
It's not there. Well, duh, right? But you know, the whole thing is believers are able, let me move this so we can read that. Oops, I didn't want to do that. Believers are able to endure any temptation because God has always provided a way of escape.
Mhm.
We don't have to give in to sin, y'all.
Mhm.
You know, and I think people forget about that.
Mhm.
People forget that
Yes.
we are saved from sin. That's what Jesus died from. Yes, we sin, but we're not sinners anymore.
And when you think about the power of God back then, we have the power of God living in us. We just don't recognize that, or I don't, you know. And so when I read this and I think, wow, you know, that's the same God today. And then you read about the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
That's God's power in us.
That's huge.
That is. So you're right. We don't have to sin. I don't have to sin. I can't speak for anyone else, but and I forget it all the time.
Any other comments about this study? I thought this one was good. What do y'all think?
Excellent.
Yeah, this one was.
Really good.
It's
But they're all good.
I know, you know, they are, aren't they?
Yeah, it's whatever study I'm doing. Oh, this is my favorite,
Yep.
or my favorite book of the Bible.
Okay, I'm going to check something just real quick. I got to save this. This is Numbers, right? Oh, I'm going to stop. No, I got to do this first. I have to rename this. Lesson 5, Numbers, audio. Okay, and then this, I have to rename, oh, part 1. Shoot. Lesson 5, Numbers, video, part 1. There we go. I did, okay. Hang with me for a minute because I forgot to do something. Now you see all the stuff that I have to do. Yeah, recordings.
Ours is Pete DeLacy.
Pardon me?
So you clicked Wayne Barber, and I thought, no, this one's Pete DeLacy.
Oh, no, I have to go in and I have to delete these before I can record. I want to make sure I've got them downloaded.